going to have you do, I'm going to make a presentation for the camera, and then I'm going to make a presentation here, okay? All right? So the first movement we're going to do is oftentimes called ame no toribune, okay? The rowing motion. Okay, now a lot of people start it this way, but I was always taught you extend, you close, bring it in, extend out, okay? Mythically, the kami used to travel between heaven and earth in this boat that was shaped like a giant bird. And so you are on that boat rowing, okay? But it starts with an opening. So most people kind of go 1, 2, a-ho, but 4 movements. It's open, close, draw, extend. Open, close, draw, extend. Okay? So if you're following that, that's good. Okay, but let's start out with the right foot. Okay, and misogi is kind of a term we tend to think it's some sort of a thing out there, but part of misogi is clarifying and getting your thoughts and your movements in a sort of an organized package. I can't do misogi if I'm a little too drifty. Conversely, if I'm just forcing it, it's not misogi. Okay, so first of all, let's start out with the left. Okay, now a lot of times you go, okay, a-ho, but I was always taught it starts on the draw, not on the out. But once it's going, there's both. Now here, you're going to close, form a fist, but you close from the little finger, not. And this is a full body motion. Bring it in, extend out, boom, there's a focus. Open, close, draw, and extend. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, pause here for a bit. I'm going to also kind of narrate for that, then we'll kind of check in here, okay? The movements, misogi is oftentimes very repetitive. It's not complex, okay? And for example, I start to force the movement or I start to drift. All of a sudden, I'm not in the misogi anymore. So it's everything open, close, draw, extend. Okay? So that's important. The details, are they important? What's important is we're able to focus. So I can have a lot of fun this way, or I can be bored, or I can be thinking about something else. That's not the misogi. And sometimes in a group, we get a group wave going, a group vibration going. Okay? So oftentimes it's more potent to do the misogi in a group than it is individually. It's hard to do individually. But let's go again. Okay, all right. And again, misogi is oftentimes very simple and it's repetitive. And one of the challenges is you keep your focus as opposed to drifting or, right? And it's nothing to do with time. But Yanasa Sensei told me one day we should do a class where we just do this for an hour. Okay. Now, the problem with that, obviously, is that most people go, oh my gosh. Okay. Then your mind starts to wander. And then the practice tends to dissipate. Okay. So it's whether it's a couple or, time is not that important. But as we get a bit more aligned with ourselves, we're able to stay more conscious for longer periods. So yes, it would be a challenge. Okay. Yanasa Sensei taught a class at Stanford University in the late 70s. And Frank Duran Sensei told me, he says, you know, Jack, he did this for half an hour. It was very memorable. I don't think anybody ever forgot it. And he said, we felt like our arms are going to fall out. Okay. Okay. But one of the things that happens is that, the best way I can put it is that rhythm, out, back, back, out, open, close, draw, extend, becomes a vibration, a wavelength. And when you hit that, you can ride that in the moment. If you start to drift, it dissipates. Okay? So we're going to switch sides. And Cliff will probably remember from his karate days, a lot of times you throw a punch. There's kind of that snap of the gi, right? Now, we're not trying to do that, but the point right here is boom, boom. 2 beats, boom, boom. Open, close, draw, extend. Open, close, 1 beat, draw, extend. Everybody goes draw, extend, but there was an open, close, draw, extend. So there are oftentimes, even though it's repetitive, there's focus. My mind wants to wander too. If I'm getting exercise, there are better ways of doing that. But the misogi is not just exercise. But if we did this for a half hour, which we're not going to do, everybody would want to drop dead. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So as we start to do the movements, breath, not just our physical breathing, but breath. Breath, as it gets a little more organized, becomes vibration. Vibration later becomes sound. We're not going to do the a-ho, but you could. Okay, I don't want to attract a lot of attention at the park. Okay, people start throwing apples and things like that. So, okay, yeah, so we're conspicuous anyway. We're not going to make ourselves any more conspicuous. But the breath starts to organize on finer levels. It becomes vibration. Vibration becomes sound. So the next exercise, the next misogi movement. See, exercise is funny because it's like, okay, yes, it is an exercise. But take your right hand, left hand on top. Now, the grip. I'm a possessive parent. I control everything my child does. I'm too lax. The child lacks guidance. It's firm, but it's alive. Okay? I'll put my mask up a little bit more. Now, out here, I'm shaking, and how long can I keep this up? My concentration goes. I sort of remember I got to do this and that, but I wander. And I get tired and wonder what's going to happen next. How long is this going to last? That's an internal dialogue. But you shake. See, right now I'm shaking and my tummy is kind of vibrating. But there's a reversal, where all of a sudden that vibration in the tummy allows the movement in the hands. So just as the toribune, the rowing misogi, was about vibration. Now you can also chant inwardly, like mantra. We used to do this in 3 phases. The first one was Amaterasu Omikami. That's the sun goddess, represents divine impartial love. Mary Heine Sensei gave me a lesson when I first got to Japan. She said the only mythology she knew of with a sun goddess, it's usually a sun god, was a Japanese mythology, Amaterasu Omikami. Okay? It's done again on another round with Oharaido no Omikami, which is a collection of kami. And it symbolizes purification. And the last one was Ame no Minakanushi no Omikami. And that is the center of the universe, that point that the Big Bang came out of. In Shinto cosmology, it's the same thing. We're at that place where mysticism and science are starting to become one. And things we would think of magical 20 years ago, now you got a cell phone computer in your pocket. You can contact everyone on Earth, get information instantaneously about what, if anything, is going on. We basically become gods. Okay? Ame no minakanushi no omikami. Now those take a little bit, but as you go from breath, and breath starts to get finer into vibration, the breath becomes sound. And in No Sensei's cosmology, we become the kototama. You're chanting syllable sounds to kind of find your own sort of sound note vibration. And as that gets finer and finer, O Sensei says that it approaches what he calls kami. Kami is all energy. The kami are just different vibrational frequencies for different forces and energies. And the blueprint for all of those is inside us. Like, so as you're starting to think, how long is this going to go? You know, you start to go like this, okay, boom. There's that place in me when my tummy starts to vibrate, my hands move off of that vibration. I know I'm sort of in that flow of vibration. Okay? And we're going to work these things through the weapons movements. And so misogi is not about how long you do it. Although initially, the longer you do it, the more you can keep your focus doing it. And also, since you like doing things for long periods, like swing the sword or do the rowing misogi or this motion, because most people wouldn't do it for that long. Okay, he had great, probably still does. He's still alive as far as I know. Okay, pause. Put your hands out. You may start to feel yourself like a vibration or a field of energy. Okay? That's the level that's always going on. It's just our everyday mind thoughts, you know, are too scattered. And so misogi is oftentimes just taking a movement, organizing yourself around it. You can't be scattered and do misogi. Like somebody might say, okay, in my Shinto sect, we don't go this way, we go this way. Okay, so that becomes part of your misogi if you're going to do it that way, right? And if I'm a little too sloppy, well, you know, I learned this over there, and then, oh, we do that. Or I like swinging my arms like this. The misogi, boom, 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 boom. If I get a little too wandery or a little too, okay? So everything about that is about breath. And as breath kind of refines, it becomes vibration. Vibration becomes sound. If there's sound, there's also something called silence. If there's motion, there's also stillness. So that there's always kind of an underlying unseen support. Okay? All right. So the misogi is about getting in touch with that. Okay. Now you can do these on your own. There's forms of exercise, but the misogi is to really organize. So boom, 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 boom. Or now. Going a little deeper, the tummy starts to vibrate. The core starts to become very alive. And so in that particular state, you'll kind of, after you feel that going on, you'll kind of start to feel like you're part of a vibrating field of energy, which you are. Okay? We all come out of that vibrating field. Well, Sensei probably had a variety of different names, but he called it kami. Okay? And within that field, there are sects and subsects and lineages and sublineages. So there are various aspects have a type of name. All right? But I think he would say you don't have to memorize the Japanese because, you know, most traditions, if you go deeply enough into them, have a type of, okay, there's this aspect, or in Jungian psychology, there's this archetype and there's that archetype, whatever. Okay, so you don't have to make it spiritual or anything. But Sensei was saying, yes, I am religious, because he had his own religious stuff. But he said, I'm not teaching religion. I'm teaching what he called spiritual science. On a finer level, we're all vibrating fields of energy. And our breathing, breath, and our motion potentially can connect us to that. And as we continue to train, that vibrational field starts to sync up with larger aspects of itself. And Sensei's thing was the universe itself was a vibrating field of energy. And his field and the universe's field started to kind of breathe together. Okay? When I was about to be a parent, Jenny's mom and I, we took these Lamaze classes, you know, because childbirth is very intense. And so there would just be these techniques. So you start to breathe together. You know, you can't just let the mother-to-be breathe. You got to breathe with. Okay, and there's a kind of a bonding, you know, mother, father, child, because the child is present as a fetus, you know, and basically the love itself has a vibration. And the love of the parents is crucial to the child to be. And there's that breathing where you start to sync up, partners sync up. Well, Sensei's major thing, fire, water. Fire, izanagi, water, izanami. Okay. So the misogi is something, okay, now when are we going to train? Okay, we're going to get out there and do Aikido. It's like, no, the misogi itself sets the table. Okay? Now put your hands out. Now I'm looking at my physical hands, I'm wondering what's going on, but we've been doing these misogi movements, so you may begin to feel that there's a vibration going on through you. Okay, and that's always going on. What tends to happen, I get caught up in all this stuff, so I start to, you know, we all lie, you know, because sometimes it's easier to lie than tell the truth, okay? but it usually gets us in trouble. But when we start to lie that way or deceive ourselves, we go further away from this. So just being able to feel that vibrational, you're in the moment. Well, since they talked about Shizen-bi, truth, goodness, and beauty. Well, the truth is about the design of the universe and who we are. We're kind of like a soul connected to a larger universal soul. And we can vibe with that. And goodness, well, yeah, in this world right now, 220 was not good. But the design of the universe, it's even in the Bible, and everything was good. And there's a lot of ugliness going on in the world right now on a variety of levels, but the original design was beauty. And what we do is we kind of do this, and we get caught up in the field of opposites as an eye. So just take a second or two and just sort of soak in that feeling. I called Mary Heine Sensei because, I ran into an expression called Odo no Kamiwaza. Odo no Kamuwaza. I said, Mary, I heard that since forever, and I have a sense of it, but could you explain it to me? And she said, okay. Izanagi goes into the underworld because Izanami has died. He's going to try to, they're both gods. Does she really die? Probably not. But he tries to get her to come out, but she gets really angry because she told him not to come in. Give her space for a bit. And so, there are very powerful forces down there, and she sicks him Izanagi and chases him out. And when he comes out, he's so shaken, in those sensei's words, he's not a kami anymore. So he has to find this magic river called Odo. And he has to soak and do certain movements. I'm willing to bet probably this is one and this is one. And in soaking in that river, Odo, he gets his kamihood back. So we're all metaphorically in this confused state. So the misogi is to get us back to that river. And Odo and Oto is sound. So that river was a magic river of sound energy vibration that in soaking, Izanagi got all this crazy stuff, and got back to his kamihood. So that's a bit of the background to some of the movements. Now, they've been sort of turned into exercises before the training, but they're much more than that. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 30 movement misogi. Okay, more on that as it goes. So I want everybody to pick up their staff. I'm going to turn face to camera, and I'm going to lead that direction, and then I'll kind of turn and face, okay? All right? So, movement number 1, right hand, left hand. Movement number 2 is, for me, the movement starts rightward in an upward spiral. Movement number 3, leftward down spiral. Movement number 4, boom, establishing your center, your belly here. Movement number 5, ready position. Movement number 6, thrust, boom. Movement number 7, from the right side, a cutting, striking motion, 8. Okay, we just missed something because in the numbers. Okay, let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7 is both up and down. 8, boom. 9, boom. 10, boom. 11, thumbs face each other. Turn. 12, step forward, thrust. 13, strike, hands in that position. 14, right hand grips thumb towards you. Now, thumbs face. 16 is turn, strike, cut. 17, densifying, sinking. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, thumbs both face away. Now, 28, you grip with the left hand, turn, strike. 29, thumbs face away, thumbs face. 30, just step back. Okay? Now, there are 30 movements, but instead of calling it a kata, and Cliff did karate, he actually has been a karate teacher, okay? A kata is a series of movements, oftentimes has a tradition, okay? When I was doing Shotokan, I learned a bunch of them. I can't remember them right now, okay? But this I consider a misogi, which is a little different. When you make it a kata, it becomes an exercise. Even though real kata, to really get into it, it's not just an exercise, it's something much more than that, okay? So the first level of it, you learn the movements, okay? Now this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through it one more time. I'll be facing that direction, I'll be counting it off. And then we're gonna focus right now just on getting the sequence. You see, a lot of times, you know, in the parks in China, all these people, you know, they do the Tai Chi in the morning. They can do it in the park when everybody else is doing it. But if you say, well, do you practice on your own? No, I go to the park every morning and I follow the flow of the group. But a lot of misogi is your ability to take that. And the most important misogi time is not just the group time. And we're going to go more into that, okay? So we're going to go through that one more time. After that, I'm going to have everybody try it on your own. And part of the misogi is getting things straight so that you can do the sequence yourself, okay? You see what I mean? You can do the sequence yourself. And part of it's not just you're learning a kata, but part of learning the sequence yourself is about organizing. If I'm too, okay, I got it, kind of, then it's too loose. On the other hand, if all I do is memorize it and memorize the numbers, boom, then that gets kind of too mechanical. Now, there are levels of that particular sequence, which we're going to cover. That's part of the misogi. Okay? So let's go again. So, movement number 1, 2. See, the movement for me starts rightward, upward, and goes in a spiral up. Now, the movement number 3 goes leftward, spiral down. And then movement number 3, I'm up on my toes, boom. I kind of bring it into my core. Movement number 5. Movement number 6, boom. Movement number 7 is both up and down. 8, 9, 10. Thumbs face each other. Movement 11. Step forward, thrust, thumbs facing. 12. Okay. Movement 13. Thrust back. 14. Here. 15. 16. Now here, 16 is sinking. 7. Okay. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 23 is a double figure 8, both hands. 24, 25, 26. Now look here, back here. 27 is not a step. Thumbs face away. 28 starts when you grip with the left hand. Sweep, turn, strike. 29, thumbs facing, thumbs face away, thumbs face. 30, step back. Okay? Okay, so everybody take a step or two forward. Now again, group. It's easy to follow the energy in a group. But part of the misogi is to do it on your own and to organize so that you have those movements. Okay? So I'm going to step to the side. Try it a couple times on your own. Okay? Yeah.
Happy New Year.
We shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Message from Harry. Late last night, his mom got taken to the hospital.
Oh, really? Is it COVID-19?
No.
Okay.
She passed out and fell at home.
Oh, okay. Well,
she's okay, but they're keeping her an
yeah,
extra day.
They should.
And,
yeah.
You know, I was up with him. I met him over there at the hospital.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to find that she's sort of okay. But things like that these days are just.
He'll try to make training today,
Yeah.
but he may be a little late.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem. I understand. Thank you. We'll kind of go like that, and we'll go like this, and we'll go like this. Okay. Okay. Now let's do this. We're going to socially distance. Okay. But why don't we make kind of a horseshoe around these little flags are to let us know that basically, you know, when I'm shot, I'm in the camera range. But come on in a little bit more, okay? All around. Make the horseshoe a little closer, okay? But observe the social distancing. That's important. Get a little further there, okay? Yeah, okay. A lot of you don't have to be in camera, but I do, okay? So, and you know, the movements themselves, as numbers, I mess up on that all the time, okay? But there is a sequence, okay? And part of the misogi is that if you do forget it, you reorganize it. And part of the misogi is not so much, okay, I messed up, so da, 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 because one of the things that happens is we start to think negative thoughts. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? But learning from them means that you refocus, okay? Okay, so that's part of it. There's kind of a mental sharpness, but also kind of an emotional truth to misogi. I didn't know I've been doing that wrong for 15 years. Whoops. Okay. Okay, something like that. Okay, so the movements themselves, okay, are part of the process of it. In fact, what I kind of came up with a bit was we don't really have cue and dawn tests now. All right, which is they serve a purpose because, you know, oftentimes people that are testing for Q ranks, they get help from people that have been there before, so it builds community. Okay, and it gives somebody, because somebody helped that person get to a certain level. And so that's passed on. And dawn tests, I mean, usually what happens, the training is a certain way, and then what happens is that the dawn tests, you really start to focus in for the test. So oftentimes you're having to deal with a lot of energy coming up that doesn't come up in normal class training, okay? So that's kind of the actual truth of it. Now, is that what O-sensei would like? Probably not. He probably, I'm probably like, okay, don't worry about that stuff. Every moment is misogi, right? Which is the larger truth. But what I thought I'd do is start a series of certifications around the 30 movement sequence. And, it just would mean the first one would be that you just know the sequence. Okay. In which case, I could print up a certificate and give it to you. Pass some sort of a, like a confirmation. Okay. You can do that by sending me a video or something like that. This is very free. But what it does do, it gets everybody focusing on a common goal. Okay. And one thing we would have usually, by the way, is we would have year-end training exams, all right, especially dawn tests. And this year we couldn't. And I did post it, but Mike, I want you to stand up straight. And if you haven't heard, Brown, our promotions for this year, Mike Brown Sensei to 5th Dan. Okay, so congratulations. Yeah. And he sort of really kept the teen program going, been really one of the really building blocks, support. He's kind of like, if we talk about the Warriors, he's kind of our Draymond Green. Okay, so, high praise, okay? So part of it would be to start to focus on the actual certification, which is not going to be a substitute for taking the place of tests. But, I mean, somebody might say, okay, I have the movement, I got certified. I'm too embarrassed, but I don't get it yet. So can we meet at a park, social distance and mask, and you can help me with the sequence? You see what I mean? So that's important because we don't have that right now. And so, there's an area where the focus is important and a group focus is important, okay? If you have a professional team, there's kind of individuals working on their position in that team, but there's a team, a strength in numbers type of quality that all successful teams have. And dojos are the same way. So what we're going to do is just, what I'm going to be doing is on the Saturdays, focus on, for a large part of it, going through the actual 30 movements. And if you feel good about it, after class, it's not going to take very long. Movements themselves go pretty quick. I can certify you. I can send you some sort of a certification, And I thought a lot about this, and it's not my particular thing to do, okay? But I realized the importance of it. I've been talking to Do Sensei about it, and he actually said, "Go for it." So, right. So, So anyway, anybody with a question on the 30? In other words, the first level will just be, you can do the movements. Yes. Yeah. Okay. The what? The last movement. The last movement. The last movement. Like yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Now here. Okay. That's 28. 29. Thumbs face. Thumbs face away. Thumbs face. Step back is 30. Okay. Honest to goodness, I remember the movements, sports jersey numbers. Okay, so for me, 28 is Buster Posey. Now, there is no real 29 that I know of. Thumbs face away, thumbs face towards. But the step back is obviously a Stephen Curry, number 30. Okay. Now, right here, for example, one thing about the 30 movements is designed with a spear emphasis. So, for example, I'm here and I go like that. The spear is always, the point of it is always away from you. Okay, so I'm rotating my hips, make sure that point is there. And then, I could go this way and go like that. But part of the misogi is being in the moment with a clearness in you that allows the details to organize through you. Therefore, it's a mind-body purification. If I'm sloppy, I go, okay. Then, if you make a mistake, move on. If I'm thinking about the mistake, I'm including my own system. We all make mistakes. I've seen Tojiba Sensei try to do fancy movements and he drops a stick. Okay? Nobody's perfect. Okay? There's always imperfection. You just get right back on. If you fall off the horse, you get back on. If you have a bad experience in the swimming pool, you relax, recenter, probably get back in before it becomes a psychological barrier. Okay? So that's misogi too. So that last motion, thumbs towards, thumbs away, but see, this is the spear point. So I rotate my hip. And then 30 is a step back. Okay? You can try that a couple times if you like. Okay? Strike, thumbs towards, thumbs face away again. See, I go this way. No, I'm rotating my hip to create space for the spear point. And that way. Okay? So try that a couple times. That's movements 28, which is the strike, alpha turn, to 29, 30. Yeah. Okay. So that's the information. Okay. In other words, you know the fact, you can kind of, all right. But you'll find kind of when you're in, part of the thing is to do the 30. So there is a sequence. And just to be able, because I know it here, then I do the sequence and I mess up again. Okay. It's different than learning the sequence mechanically. If you make a mistake, good. You get a chance to kind of get right back in, boom. And you may just go back over this a couple times just to repeat it. Okay. But one of the values of the movement, for example, if this is a spear, okay, then, it's a stick, I just bang myself. But, the ball, I learn how to get off the line, not react to the spear point, but simply give it space. Okay, so we go here, boom. See right here, before I make the hand changes, so it has clear path back here. Okay, somebody's coming in from the back, boom. That can be a protective defense motion. But you want to be, I designed this whole thing with spear in mind, okay? Because I think when O-sensei was doing his stuff, he had the experience of working with the spear, okay? If you watch the movement, I mean, the currency that's being issued right now is the Hombu Dojo style. But, you know, entering, turning, entering, turning, those are sword movements. But when I watch O-sensei move, all his movements come off the spear. Whenever you do a striking motion, you're off the line of your own strike. In other words, right? When you do a fancy move, you're off the line of your own spear movement without reacting. And this example, let's just say he comes in and I make a mistake, okay. But, you know, it's a natural thing after a while. So you know, oh. You say, so, you know, you this is no substitute for a training partner. But when you add the experiences that you're training the way O-sensei trained with the staff, okay? This is an important one. And what you find is it's very easy to teach this and this. It's harder to teach the changes in the hands and the body when you start to work the spear. Okay, it's just harder. And that, unfortunately, is kind of being lost because it's easier to do this. Okay, it's just easier. And, you know, it's a form and everybody kind of moves that way. But, for example, here, there's a lot of subtlety. See, Wada, I don't want to make that stronger. See, now I'm moving into, and right here, you see, I'm also off the line of my own. Right. So the Tai Sabaki, the changes in the hands and the feet, oftentimes are being lost. Okay, so I kind of created for myself mainly this 30 movement thing. And with a sense that, you know, it would keep that alive. You don't have somebody, hey, let's practice Munetsuki Kotegaishi. Okay, we're going to go to the line. Yeah, okay, boom. Okay. So you can do that on your own. Now, right here, boom. That's part of, you get off the line, but on the other end, getting off the line is your hips rotating from your core in your base, and boom, there's power in that motion. So it's both an off the line motion and an entering motion. And then at some point, the entering sets up the turn. Okay, so right here, the turn this way. No. See? Okay. So that degree of subtlety is going to take a little bit to get, but it's in the 30 movements. Okay. And so there'll be levels of certification with the 30 movement. Okay. So as I said, I basically, if you want to know the story of what's behind the 30, it's not for public. Okay. But a lot of stuff went into it. Okay. Okay. So you basically have a dojo here and a training partner here. Okay, all right. Let's go through the 30 once more. Then I'll have you try it on your own. We'll see if there are any questions. Yaros was a very good one. Okay, so let's face this direction. I'll make sure. Okay. Movement number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, 7, was both up and down. Boom. 8, boom. 9, boom. 10, boom. 11, 12, step thrust. 13, lift strike. 14, thrust back, thumbs facing you. 15, thumbs face each other. 16, turn. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The thumb is facing here. This is Gokyo. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. You don't actually strike yet. The thumbs are facing away and you grip the hand. Now, starts when you grip with the left hand. Let's try. 29, which we covered. Now 30. Okay? Now what I'm going to have you do is try that on your own. See if you reproduce that sequence. Level 1 is just getting the sequence. Okay? So come in just a little bit and try it a couple times. Go like that, and we'll go like that. And then we'll go. Okay. Let's make sure. Okay. So part of the misogi is just learning how to do it without being in the flow of a group. Okay. Group misogi is important because a lot of times what it is that we tend to not do it, but we can do it in a group. That's good. Okay, but part of the one of the things about this is it's designed to say, okay, now the most important misogi is what you can do on your own. Okay, now what happens? You learn the movement. Okay, good. Then you get bored. And then you start to think, what am I doing this for? And maybe you get a certification. Go, okay, now I've done that. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that you look at the misogi. you know, it's a fancy word about ritual and everything, but the real misogi is kind of refining yourself, okay? And part of what we're doing is now, let's just say that you can do or sort of do the movement. Okay, now there are a couple of things to do, and one of them is go through a check down. Okay, Hikizuchi sensei wouldn't teach a lot of the staff movements a lot. He would, you'd see it on the board. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a staff class. And so, you know, a lot of people would show up. And then basically what would happen is we'd all get yelled at for an hour and a half. In other words, you know, he would yell at everybody about how they're doing everything wrong and everything like that. One time he kind of looked at me, you know, and I figured, okay, I'm going to get it now. So what he said was, and this is something that Jack and Yanase sensei need to look at. So I'm thinking, well, at least I'm in good company here. Okay. And so that was the way he kind of taught. Okay. So on the other hand, what he also taught was really a kind of check down. Okay. And we tend to think misogi is some ritual that's a Japanese word. So O-sensei did it, it's Shinto based and everything. But maybe his best student wasn't even an Aikidoist. His best student might have been Sadaharu O. And O-sensei coached him, and then he took O-sensei's teachings into the arena of baseball. And he learned to stand on one leg and wait. And he kept on working and working, and a lot of what he did was just check down, check down, check down. He played from 1959 to, I guess, 1980. He played into his 40s. He retired. The year he retired, he hit 31 home runs and drove in 96 runs. And he retired. Okay. So it wasn't that he couldn't hit, it's just he said, okay, it's time to move on. Or do some other things. Okay. But one thing he said was that he began to realize those sensei's things wait. That doesn't mean you just wait. In other words, you are actively training, but you wait because you're never there. You are constantly refining. And if you don't wait, you say, I got it. Okay, I'm bored. But the refining says, okay, I'm never there because I'm always waiting and there's more refinement. And in that way, his baseball and his standing on one leg was misogi. Okay? And he said it, he said that he realized that the act of waiting, as O-sensei explained it to him, was the most active thing he did. Just as I said, wait. See, he also told Hikizuchi sensei, never wait. So the advice he gave was always tailored towards the individual. And, you know, he just said to Hikizuchi sensei, don't wait for the attack. Move first, draw the attack out. And he told Mr. O, he said, you know, you're messing up right there because you're too quick out there. You're young, you're gifted, and you have this habit of jumping out there to try to hit the ball. I said, the ball's coming to you. And he said, one thing you got to realize, and this is what he told him, you know, Mr. O, he just said, you're the center of the universe. When you understand that, you can't be fooled, fast or slow. And since you're the center, it all moves around you, you know, which is pretty esoteric. And so his coach, who was a student, actually studied Aikido, said, well, yeah, that's pretty good, O-sensei, but what can he do tomorrow? What can I work on? Teach him to wait. So waiting is not passive. Waiting means that you're constantly going through your check downs. Okay, that's part of the misogi, not just doing the movement better, but we become better. Okay, so part of the check down, we're going to start with the feet. So put your left foot forward. Okay, natural shoulder width. Don't go over wide or over narrow. Okay, now we talked about the breath, the vibration. You're on a floating platform, or essentially like the floating bridge image. And it's gentle rocking. You're feeling it through your joints without being over exaggerating it. You're feeling it in your ankles. You're feeling it in your knees. You're feeling it in your hips. The lower body right there tends to lock into a form. And if you get too mental about it, you miss the actual simplicity of it. Okay? And you're both very balanced but very light on your feet. Boom. Try a simple motion, forward or back, keeping the triangle. See, if I'm going to stumble, yeah, it means I'm too much up here. Feel the float platform. Feel the gentle rocking of the waves. Boom, boom. Utsukemi is when a huge thing like this goes, you got to be able to roll and recover your balance. All right? But just check that. That's your check down. Good. Okay. Now, second check down. Hands. Hold from the top. If you're like this, you're holding a rifle. If you want to go online, there's a picture of O-sensei. He's basically got his gi top off. He's an old man. He looks pretty good for somebody in his 70s and 80s. And he's thrusting. Now, there's a lot of this, okay, where people corkscrew. But I was always taught double spiral, double spiral, double spiral. Now, when you go back, you're working with yourself, so this is heart level. And I'm so occupied with this, I don't feel the float. Okay, good. All right. Okay, now extend the arms out. Don't overextend, but don't keep the weight down. You're really going to about knee covers toe. It's just like Tai Chi. Okay? And at the very end of it, there's that double spiral. Okay? And then what happens is you actually, the knuckles roll over, just like the sword. Going back, the V is right in the middle here. It resets. You don't want to go back here because you're too tense. Or conversely, overly relaxed this way. I get too sloppy. Okay. Now the end is not a tightening. It's a focusing. Okay. And when you go here, the hands reset. They don't go all the way to here. That's too, too loose. But the V here goes here, thumb, index finger here. But when I close, boom. Okay. Now, what we mentioned earlier, I'll speak to the camera first. There's a focusing right there. There's a focusing there. And for me, I feel like a vibration. Okay? And in sports, that's important. You don't tense there. Most people, but that's Mr. O's boom, home run cut. Or that's Stephen Curry's 3-point game winner. Boom. It's decisive, it's relaxed, and as much as possible, totally done with focus. Okay? So what I'm going to have you remember, we did the rowing misogi, the toribune. Yeah. Okay. One thing about as we're doing this, what we're building towards, okay? What I want Steve to do is come on and execute a thrust, okay? And flows, good, okay, good. Just close, boom, okay? Now, he's real solid, okay? If you push on him, he gets more solid. But he's also vibration. He's also energy. He's also ki. One thing's about ki is both calm and empty, but it also is very vibrant and alive. It has its own yin yang. So let's say he's coming this direction, okay? Yeah, boom, okay. All right, he's real solid here, okay, boom. So the toribune, you may not be able to do that overnight. But one thing O-sensei was working, he was working ki, he was moving, which means he has to understand how his own ki moves. And you know, big words like the universe also has movement. Sync your movement up with the universe, okay? But here, if he's coming in, for example, we'll go this way, and he's real solid there, but all of a sudden, there's an activation. Boom, boom. See? This is a bigger wave movement. Boom, boom. All right, we come in this way, and boom, boom, boom. All right. See, that's all going on in the field of ki. And so after a while, what happens if you sync up your particular energy field with your partner's energy field? They have, if you start moving in their energy system, their physical moves. Okay? essentially, would throw people that were 300-pound small people like they were weightless, and our ability to do that is probably going to realistically much less good as, much less than he could do. But we can start to develop that, okay? Now, if you want to go home and do 100 push-ups or 200 or 1,000 push-ups a day, you probably still can't flip some 300-pound sumo wrestler. So he was working another dimension. And he said, as we get closer to that, it wasn't to do crazy things with people. It was to understand that we're all vibration. We all come out of the same field. And, that field has qualities, like it's loving. There's an intelligence to it. There's a vibrancy, power to it. And it's beautiful. And by the time we get up here and out there, we're in really the field of opposites. Okay? So what we find, I want him to go this way, he doesn't go that way. Okay. So we kind of say, we're going to establish a simpatico with him. Then we go this way, and then boom, this sort of. So that may be something that I'm checking out there to see whether it's going to work. I still do that. That's why I'm not on Sensei's level. He is just moving. He was moving off of his own key in the universe. So whoever came in, the universe had a harmony, a beauty to it, and it was very vibrant and alive. It was all vibrations and sub-vibrations and the breath. So when he was doing these things that everybody else turned into exercise, he wasn't exercising, he was aligning. Okay? Okay? So, that's why, we're saying a little bit, the actual movements can be misogi. But I can't be sloppy out there and do that. There's a precision, not a lock precision out there, but a loose, easy position with yourself here. When you start to kind of say, okay, I'm not going to try to move him. I'm going to kind of align vibration energy to vibration energy. When I do that, there are circles and spirals and waves that we create together. It's not me doing it. It's just all of a sudden when two systems come together, each other. They're part of a harmony. That's the I key. Okay? So the weapons work, where you can be doing that, and I have to be on point, but it can't be locked into detail out there. Okay? All right, now, what we're going to do, I'll go through maybe the next level of the certification. First one, you go through just being able to do the movements. Okay? This will be online, so if you want to just go, okay, all right, that's what you do. I use jersey numbers for the movements. Okay? 22. 3 is, okay, 21, 22. 23 is a double figure 8. 24, 25, 26. 27 is this grip. Now, 28 is when I take this. 29 comes face away, comes face, step back. Okay? All right, so you learn the movements individually. Okay, and you are able to reproduce them consistently in a pattern. That's just the beginning of it. Now, for me, what I would do, for example, with a level 2 certification, you learn one second level. Just watch. No pause. So the whole thing is one move. You have to know the first one to do that. Although for me, what's interesting, it's easier. And I have to focus to get into the first level. It's much more natural for me to do that second level. Okay? Okay? Now the third level, see, we worked on the focusing, the vibration, right? First motion right here, boom, you put it, there's that. And then right here, even though there's motion, boom, and even though there's motion, boom, there's that sense of, and boom, you focus it here. Now here, this is just ready, but here, boom. And then both the up, boom, and the down, boom, have that. Boom, and boom. Every movement, boom, boom. Not just knowing the sequence, boom. So you can do every movement with that focus, okay? And the fourth one would be taking those 30. And that focusing motion is different than the second one. The second one is just be able to do the movements in order as one. You have that. But the fourth one is a little different. The fourth one is one focus right from the beginning. Okay. We were to go right from here. Where everything is that. Okay, so in a sense, what it is, you get bored if you know the first one, there's a second one. And then you get bored with that one, well, there's a third one. Can you focus each of those? And then you get that. Most people will start you with the third one, but I find that gets people too rigid. I'm going to start with just the movements, then be able to connect them and make them one. Then you go back and boom, section each move. Because it's one sustained through everything. Okay? So that's my project for the year. If there's, it would be more like for example, we go like here, thumbs down, thumbs face away. These spins are what I call the fire, water, center circle changes. Okay. The fifth one would be a little bit like, you might call the Takemusu level. Okay? What does that mean? You don't think in terms of movements. In this moment, there's that motion. In this moment, there's this motion. In this moment, there's motion. In other words, you are able to, in the moment, follow those basics and create. It's like a great jazz artist. Okay? You have to know the song. You have to be able to follow the chord sequence, to improvise, but then everything is created in the moment. Okay? So that's my sense. It's pretty ambitious, but first level is just learning the movements. Okay? And what I'm going to do is we'll focus the online broadcast. We'll try every class to cover it again. okay? We may diverge because, there are other things to cover, but we'll cover it. And also the weekend classes will be good vehicles. For example, if you say, okay, I think I got it. Can I show it? Then you can run through me here because we're outdoors. We are masked and we are social distancing. Pretty doable. I work a little bit with Steve. But one of the things here again, for example, here, boom, 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 boom. We can't do a lot of that because the social distancing gets a little, and we really need to do a lot of things here, but it's like boom, 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 boom. All right. See, that would be my sense of what Osensei was doing. He was tracing himself back to a very original field of energy vibration. And at that level, there was an original sense. I mean, if you were to create a universe, would you create a hateful one? No, you create a love, wouldn't you? Would you create an ugly one? No, you create a beautiful, harmonious one. Would you create a dumb one? No, you create an intelligent one. You see? Would you create a weak one? No, you create a potent, alive, vital, powerful one. Now, what you kind of find is that we're trapped more in the other half. We're living kind of in the bizarro universe of I, where love is, not you get some things are loving, things are beautiful, but there's a lot. There's nothing just that isn't. You see what I mean? We're in the bizarro world. Okay. So Sensei, somehow did the misogi. He said, no, it's not somewhere far away. But we sort of have to get to where we are doing the misogi. We get back to the original blueprint, which contains love. Yeah. Doesn't mean you don't disagree with people. All right. And it contains beauty. All right. Doesn't mean there's ugliness doesn't go on. All right. Intelligence, but an original design of intelligence. We're around imagination. And there's a vibrancy, a power to that. So as we start to go back to our more original selves, that's the misogi. And so we're trying to do that, using the 30 movement staff. Okay? If you have any questions, anyway, I'll be here for a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions about it, you can check in. But let's bow out. I think we're probably about that time. So, okay. Okay. And thank you. I thought this is optional, but I'd like to do the Amatsu nigami o tsuduyete tokoto ha ni kamizumarimasu. Kamurogi kamurami no mikoto mochite. Kamu izanagi no mikoto. Tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no dono wa hagi ga harani. Misogi harai tamu toki ni narimaseru harai dono okami tachi. 子供のまがごと積み汚れを払いたまえ。清めたまえとますことのよしを。松神、つかみやほよろずの神たちともに。雨のふちこまの耳振り立ててきこしめせとかしこみもまおす。新年を明けましておめでとうございます。こんながらたまちはいませ。こんながらたまちはいませ。Okay, thank you.